ISIS bears the sole responsibility here. The sole responsibility, and Mr. Putin understands that. We shared that with their government.
Clearly, this was an ISIS attack that took place in Moscow. As it relates to ISIS, I think it's very important to understand that the Department of Defense has not taken its eye off of ISIS.
The White House and Pentagon press secretaries making clear ISIS-K is to blame for the deadly attack last week at a Russian concert hall. That came as a shock to many who thought ISIS had been all but defeated. We'll speak with a former commander of U.S. forces in the Middle East in a moment, but first a look back on the rise, fall, and reemergence of ISIS.
Over the next 2 months, our troops in Iraq, tens of thousands of them, will pack up their gear and board convoys for the journey home.
It was near the end of 2011 when President Barack Obama pulled all American troops out of Iraq after more than 8 years of battling insurgents and Al-Qaeda terrorists. I was with the American soldiers on that last convoy out, many fearing that someday they would have to return.
Iraq remains a very dangerous place, and there is a huge threat of sectarian violence and also Al-Qaeda coming back in.
Threats that were soon realized. A new terror group emerged, an offshoot of Al-Qaeda known as the Islamic State, or ISIS. By January 2014, ISIS had made stunning gains in Syria and Iraq. About 5 miles out of Fallujah, the roads became more desolate, and Iraqi security forces warned us it was not safe to continue. By June of that year, ISIS had captured Iraq's second-largest city, Mosul, in a matter of days, prompting a mass of military-aged Iraqi men to head into the fight.
Basically, all of these young men will just be heading north to help Iraqi security forces. They will be untrained, just loaded into trucks to help with the fight.
A fight they quickly lost to ISIS. Weeks later, the terror group announcing the establishment of a caliphate governed by strict Sharia law. But the United States resisted a military response.
This is a fight the Iraqi security forces have got to make. It's their country. There's not going to be a U.S. military solution here. It's just not going to happen.
About a week later, when the sweep of the brutal ISIS takeover seemed unstoppable, a change of heart.
Good evening.
President Obama authorizing airstrikes less than 3 years after the U.S. military's departure from Iraq.
And I have been careful to resist calls to turn time and again to our military. But when the lives of American citizens are at risk, we will take action.
But ISIS was undeterred, publishing brutal, videotaped executions of civilian hostages, including American journalist James Foley. At its peak, ISIS controlled nearly a third of both Iraq and Syria's territory, the group claiming responsibility for or inspiring countless terrorist attacks, killing thousands globally, in 2015 striking in Paris, in 2016 Brussels. But by the end of Obama's second term, relentless attacks from the U.S. and a global coalition had significantly degraded ISIS. By 2017, less than 2% of the land ISIS once held was still under its control. And by 2019, the new president, Donald Trump, said ISIS had been wiped out.
During my administration, we altogether destroyed the caliphate 100%.
But the ISIS threat remained, with ISIS-K based in Afghanistan exacting a devastating toll. That was clear at the Kabul airport in 2021. Thousands of Afghans desperate to escape a Taliban takeover as U.S. forces finalized a complete withdrawal after 20 years of war. An ISIS suicide bomber detonated in the crowd, killing 13 U.S. service members and at least 160 Afghans.
We will not forget. We will hunt you down and make you pay.
That same group claiming responsibility for an attack this January on a memorial service in Iran that killed nearly 100, followed by this month's attack at a Moscow concert hall that killed more than 140. While the U.S. did share intelligence that ISIS would strike a concert hall, that did not stop the terror group.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.